Hey, we're going to do something a little bit different today. I've got some meat left over that I'm going to grind from the venison that we've been able to harvest this year. My daughter got a doe and I got 2 bucks so far. But I bought this buckboard bacon cure about a year ago and never have come around to use it, but I want to try it out this year. So I've got 6 pounds of venison in there and 2 pounds of pork fat that I got from my local butcher. So it's 8 pounds of meat. This Hi-Moutain Seasoning buckboard bacon cure that I got says it'll do 24 pounds of meat. And when you open it up, it's got 3 packages here. So I'm guessing that each one of these packages will do 8 pounds of meat because they're the same same contents. There's no like a package of cure and a package of seasoning. It's all there together. So I'm guessing that one of these does 8 pounds. So that's what I've got: 6 pounds of venison, 2 pounds of pork fat, and so I'm going to get it out of the freezer and I'm going to grind it, and then I will mix one of these packages with a cup of water and stir it up and mix it all up, and then I'm going to put it in these cake pans, leave them in the refrigerator for a couple days, and then smoke them. So the first step is let's get the meat out of the freezer and grind it up. Alright, so here I have an LEM Big Bite grinder. It's a number 5. It does good for what I'm doing, which I do 3 to 4 deer a year, and it keeps up. So I just got the auger, the blade, and the coarse grind plate on here, and I just got this out of the freezer. I like to put that in the freezer for about 15 minutes before I start grinding. And I've already cubed up the meat and had it in the freezer. So this meat is, here's some of the pork fat and the venison, but it's slightly frozen. Sometimes with this number 5 it can really strain it. Honestly, I wish if I could do it over again I would probably get a size or 2 bigger, but really it does what I need, the grinder that is. But I'm going to put the meat up here, try to break it up so I can feed it down the chute easier. This is pretty frozen. The grinder will probably struggle with that one. Alright, I need my... The reason why you want to have your meat as cold as possible is for the fat. You want the fat to not render out as much, or you want it to stay kind of solid. At least when you're making sausage. This is the first time I've made bacon, so I'm assuming the same rules apply. So this is just a process of feeding it all through there. Through the magic of editing, all this is going to be done. 3, 2, 1. There it is. All right, so this is 6 pounds of venison and 2 pounds of pork fat that just got ground up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the seasoning with a cup of really cold water and put it in here and then get it really nice and mixed up. All right, so I got a cup of cold water and 1 package of the bacon cure. And I'm just going to dump this package of bacon cure or seasoning into this cup of cold water. I'm gonna stir it up. Okay, so now I'm just going to dump this right into the ground up meat. Get all of it out of there. Okay, I'm just going to get in here and mix it up really, really good. And I'll probably mix this for 10 minutes or so. If I had a meat mixer, it'd be pretty nice. I think it's important to get this mixture really mixed up nice. So I'm going to use the KitchenAid mixer to do this. Now I may have to do this in little bits at a time, but I've already hand mixed it a little bit, so I'm going to put it in this KitchenAid mixer and mix each segment a couple times and try to get it mixed in really nice and even. Again, I'm doing this in batches because it's not, this KitchenAid mixer is not big enough to do it all at once. But if you had a meat mixer, or if you just did it by hand, you could do it by hand. Another bonus of using the KitchenAid mixer is this meat is very cold, so keeping my hands warm by not having to use them. Alright, here is the meat mixture after it's been mixed in the KitchenAid several different times in different batches because I couldn't fit it all in there at the same time. But you can see it's kind of sticky and tacky. This is perfect. So I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator while I get ready for the next step. Alright, so what I have here are aluminum pans. They're 2 inches deep. I've got 4 of these. Little ones that are like, I guess these are 8 by 8s. I would imagine. I don't know how much this is, how much of this is going to fill it up, or if I'm going to fill them all up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this meat mixture, and again, I just got this out of the refrigerator. Anytime you're working with sausage or this meat like this, it's always best to keep it as cold as possible. So I'm putting them in these cake pans and getting them to fill every little nook and corner of these things and pat them down as much as possible. You want them to fill the whole thing up and get them fill this up. You're going to have enough to fill this one up, but we'll see. Nope. This one's going to need some thinner bacon. Again, this is the first time I've ever done this, so I'm learning. We're learning together, you know. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to cover them with clear plastic wrap. Let me go ahead and take these gloves off. Stacking them. Obviously, my plastic wrap deployment skills need some work. And I am going to set something heavy in there on that one. Alright, so then I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them in the fridge and let them stay in there maybe 2 or 3 days. I don't know, we'll see. Alright, here they are after 3 days of sitting in the refrigerator curing. So I have an electric smoker. And right now it's sitting at 150 degrees. I'm going to put these guys in there for an hour with no smoke. And then after an hour's up, I'm going to add some smoke to it. And maybe bring it up to about 170 or 180 and let it smoke there for a couple hours. Then after at 180 for 2 hours, I'm going to bring it up to like 200 until the internal temperature gets to 150 on these guys. And then I'll pull them off, throw them in the fridge, and then slice them up. Alright, so here they are in the smoker. I'm going to let them cook here or get heated up at 150 with no smoke. And then after an hour, I'll add some pecan wood chips or pecan wood chunks to the smoker and give them some smoke flavor. And I have a thermometer inserted into this one to monitor them, but they're both on the same cook level, so they should heat up kind of the same. Hour later, just a little bit of smoke going on with pecan wood chunks. This is a Smoke and Tex 1500, and right now the smoker is sitting around 161, around 160 degrees, and the meat is at 98 degrees. So I'm going to let this go for a couple more hours, and then maybe raise this up to 180, and then do that for a couple hours, and then maybe go up to 200 if I'm getting impatient, but it shouldn't be too much longer after that. Well, here they are. I pulled them off when the internal temperature was at 143. I actually had a third one, if you remember. There was a third little pan, and I did that one yesterday, and I pulled it off at 150. But some of the fat was missing when I sliced it, so I didn't put the fat in there to lose it during the smoking process. I put the fat in there to eat it later on when we cook it. So I figured maybe it got too hot, so I figured I would take it off a little bit earlier. So I'm down about 7 degrees of what I put it before. Before I actually took it and I put it right into the refrigerator. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm going to put these into a container and put them in the fridge, let them sit there overnight until tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'll slice them and then vacuum seal them. Alright, the bacon has been in the refrigerator and had a chance to cool down, so we're going to start slicing it. Just trying to make consistent slices through. I wish I had a slicer, but don't have one that's worth anything. Alright, that's one of them. You can see the bacon pieces in there. All the fat's in there. It's still got a few holes. There's a few holes here and here. Maybe where the fat rendered out, or maybe it's where I didn't push it far enough down. But still, it looks really, really good. Alright, so move that to the side. Drop the second one in. Alright, so now we're going to put it in vacuum sealed bags in 1 pound packages. I'm just going to throw the rest of this in here. Probably whatever. Yeah, this is 1.5 pounds. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 pounds of bacon, and we already ate probably another 1.5 pounds, maybe 2.5 pounds. We've already eaten. So now I'm going to vacuum seal these.